peroxide?
It was my idea. It was really, I don't know. It really just chose me. I didn't have a choice. I just was one day sitting there and I had to go to the store and get the dye at Walmart. I dyed it myself at my house, but I didn't have a choice. Like my body just went over there, and then I just dyed it. I didn't really think about it. It wasn't like a, you know, it wasn't like a calculated decision.
First time?
No,
Oh,
no.
yeah,
In high school, all I used to do was dye my hair, all different colors, green, red, everything. Like even comments now, people are like, on my Instagram, they're like, oh, it takes me back to high school. Go back to the high school wrestling days where you had it green and red and all this stuff. So just the thing, you know, just felt right.
First time since high school though?
I think so. Yeah, I just used to do it in high school. Like high school wrestling, it's people love dyeing their hair for some reason. So it's kind of, you know, similar, kind of going into the competition or whatever. But it wasn't even really that. I just wanted something different. Like people cut their hair because they want their hair to look different, and I was just like, oh, might as well go all the way.
How often does that happen to you where your body just makes decisions that you
All the time. All the time. Like I'll just roam down the street to Home Goods and come home with like 8 pillows, or like, you know, a new like patio set or something. I was like, I didn't really think about it. They just got in my car on accident, and so stuff like that. But you know,
Does that excuse work with the wife?
a little bit. Just like, I don't know. Well, it usually looks nice, so she's happy, and then it's, you know, something less she has to do because she does literally everything for me. So it's like one less thing, picking pillows and a patio set, whatever.
Joe, what's the feeling right now to finally be getting back in the cage? I mean, it's not too long away at this point. Or are you letting yourself enjoy it at this point? Are you still a little cautious?
No, I'm like, honestly, the best way, I'm just happy, honestly. It's amazing just being in this position again. It's been 18 months since I have been, and you know, it's funny because I'm a veteran, obviously, you know, 34 fights, but I just feel like a kid again in the sport. So I'm happy in that regard. Like this time away has done so much for me, like mentally. Like I said, I'm happy training, happy fighting. I got a whole new group and area and people and atmosphere around me, and that makes for, you know, good energy on my part, just the change in general, like we talked about earlier with the hair, even just little things like that. But like you do something for so long and it just kind of becomes what you do. 11 years, you know, I love fighting, I love training every single day, but I go in there and it's just what I'm doing. I'm not thinking every day how fun it is or how cool it is, just another fight. And having it taken away from you for that long, getting back to it, like I'm happy training, it's so exciting. So like I said, I have like kind of like a newcomer, like kid kind of mentality, but I'm obviously like experienced like a veteran, so it's kind of the best of both worlds coming together, and that's really the best way I can describe it. Just excited and happy to get in there, and like once again just so like grateful I get to do this and excited that like, oh, this is fun to me now.
Do you feel like your game has stepped up a notch, having a reset of the
For sure, yeah. I mean, mentally, that's huge. Just having that like reset and that different perspective, I think is really, really, really important. But then as far as my game stepping up, physically, I mean, my body rested for 10 months. You know, that's something I needed. I would take a week off at the most after fights and then get right back into it. So my body, my joints, everything's been taking beatings for 11 years, day in, day out. You never forget how to fight, so but my body rested to be able to perform even better. So yeah, everything just feels way better. And even with the UFC PI, like just the little things, the recovery, the physical therapy every day, having the strength coaches, you know, with my own program, everything feels way better. So physically, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Like my body rested for the first time in 11, 12 years. So physically, yeah, my game has definitely stepped up in that regard.
It's a pretty positive attitude you've got overall, but you know, were there low points along the way? I mean, have you been happy this whole time, or has it been rough?
No, not at all. I mean, it's funny because I look back at the kind of the sad moments, which is just after the surgery, just like miserable, you know, crying, just depressed, not sleeping, all that kind of stuff that goes with just having a surgery. Really just the pain and the uncomfortableness of it. and then a little bit mentally. You know, I got over it pretty quick. I think mentally it was just like, I'm out of surgery. What can I do? It really just sucked being helpless. So there was really, really low points, like crying naked with my dog in my lap. Like that's a pretty, you know, like sad, you know, moment. But and like waking up my wife because she could hear me, because I'd have to sleep downstairs on the couch, and you know, I'd say, hey, you know, get your rest. You've been helping me all day, filling up my ice thing, everything, and you know, she could hear me like crying or moaning or whatever and she'd have to come down, you know, and just like comfort me, I guess, for the most part. So like those are all really like sad and low, but like now when I look back at it, it was just an experience, and those parts went slow, but I look back and like, when was I even injured? I never felt like I was injured. And no one's gonna really care that I was injured after I fight. Like this, no one's gonna be like, oh, his fight was good, but remember he was injured or something. Like it doesn't matter at all. It's just about getting through it, and that was always my mentality. Just like, you know, just get through this, get to the next fight, because that's all people are gonna care about when it's said and done. No one's gonna be like, he looked pretty good, or he didn't look that good, or whatever, but he was out for 18. It's just not a thing. It's just an experience you have to get through. So I look back at it now, and yeah, those parts were hard, but I guess they just made everything, you know, that much sweeter.
Did you watch fights along the way? I mean, were you keeping an eye on the division and seeing how things were happening, or was it too hard for you to watch and not be able to be in?
No, I'd always watch. I mean, that's what kind of kept me going and, you know, motivate. I watch fights regardless. I mean, there's enough of them to watch, so they're always on. But yeah, I would watch it. And yeah, as far as the division goes, I was like, that was one positive thing I was looking at. I was thinking, I'm sorry, I'm just looking straight, but I appreciate all of you guys. John's hair, Brett's handsome. I mean, you know, sorry. Anyway, but yeah, that was one positive thing. I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna be out, maybe there's gonna be some crazy like mix up in the division. It's gonna be in this totally different upside down state when I get back. And like, it's actually worse, and nothing's changed at all. Like nothing's changed, and if anything, it's like the same, like almost worse. So I'm just like, well, here we go. You know, I'm glad I'm back, and maybe that will change something. You know, being the number one guy and having 7 wins in a row after this fight is what I'm going for. So, but yeah, I watch fights and was waiting for something cool to happen in the division. Nothing did, and you know, so. Same as it ever was, I guess, when I get back.
Is there danger then in trying to come back and trying to win like 3 fights at one time and like try to really, you know, just make a splash as you come back instead of just working your way back into being?
Yeah, I want to do some catching up. Obviously, start with this fight with Sergio Pettis in Chicago, and then I'd like to fight again before the end of the year, and then just, you know, keep it like that. I'm not like let me fight, you know, just the same as I would as a healthy fighter, you know, a veteran. Just it's half the year, so I'll fight and then hopefully fight again at the end of the year.
I know you got to a point where you were like, I'm not going to focus on another fight with Demetrius because it might not be there for me right now, you know. But it's been a while, you know what I mean? The guys dominated everybody. I mean, you know that you're a fight fan. You know the history of 0-2 trying to get a third fight. But I mean, do you feel like it's a position now where like, look, this guy's been dominating everybody for so long, and it's been so long since we fought. You know, maybe it is time to take a look at me again.
Yeah, 100%. I've always thought that as far as skill goes, it's not a question. It's the number 1 ranked guy against, you know, the champion. So as far as skill goes, there's not really a question to me. You know, if you want to have the 2 best people fight, we're gonna have amazing fights 7 times, and I think even a 5th fight, a 6th fight for us is more exciting, maybe even more marketable with some of the fights he's been doing, just, you know, to fill the card and get and him defend his title. So I think the thing about our division too is there's not like a big super fight. So all we really have is skill and talent and, you know, exceptional skill, chaining things together in MMA. You know, we have the best ever fighter, so all we really have is skill, so why not let the best 2 fighters fight? It's not, I understand when sometimes the best fighter doesn't go fight for the title because he's going to make more money and there's going to be more pay-per-views and there's a little more marketing involved. But with our fight, with our division, there's not that anyway. So just have the best 2 people fight. You know, 7 wins in a row, I think it would be hard to deny me after that, especially since he's fought everybody else and I've beat the next guy in line, Henry Cejudo.
What will get you?
If you don't mind my asking,
Okay.
you've changed as a fighter, you're renewed as a fighter
Yeah.
because of the surgery. But you're renewed it seems like it's had an effect on you as a person, I mean, as a human being.
Yeah, it definitely has. I just think any hard experience in life, like you grow, you just grow personally. So that was a hard experience. You know, obviously fighting is kind of my life, so that helped me grow as a fighter. But as a person, just knowing, you know, you're gonna have the unexpected things happen, and nothing ever really goes as planned, and just getting through it, it really grew. Yeah, I think it helped a lot as a person for sure. Yeah.
What will get you over the hump to be Demetrius if you fight him again?
I don't really think there's a hump to get over. I mean, I think a lot of people forget that, you know, we had a split decision in our first fight. The second fight, that's all people are going to remember, but that's the sport. You remember the last fight, you remember the last thing. But people don't realize how much of a coincidence that is. I mean, have you ever seen him knock anyone out with one punch besides that time? Have you ever seen me get knocked out with a punch or even hurt? So these things happen in MMA. But people just forget that. People forget that, you know, we had a split decision already, that I've been taking out every other person in the division as well. So I don't really think there's a hump there is to get, as much as just going out there and performing again and giving my best. Like, the first fight could have gone either way. We both obviously got better since then, so I don't think there's a huge place where he's better than me or anything. He puts things together really good, and, you know, I need to do the same. Like, I have the tools, as everyone says, to beat him, and I think everyone in the division does. You know, the way they think they can fight is perfect and can beat anybody, but it's about going out there and doing it. So that's all it really takes. Like, I have what it takes to beat him. You know, I've showed it in fight with him and other fights as well. So not a big hump, as much as just like giving me another chance to go out there and do it. I haven't definitely given it my best fight. There's a ton of things I wouldn't even mention, but I mean, I probably have in a few interviews about that first fight and some things going into it that weren't right. Like, I couldn't train for like a month before that fight, but I still took it, you know. And then the second one, best I ever felt in my life. But that's not the way the sport works. Like, you can feel as good as you possibly can, and you only have a chance at winning still. You know, so it's not like a marathon where when you're running it, if you're running that time, you're gonna probably run close around that. No, I can feel good, but doesn't mean I'm gonna fight good. Like, that second fight was the best I ever felt in my life, and that was what happened. He never did it again. It's never happened to me, you know, before or since. So just the hump, I guess, is with the people making the decisions, I guess, to give me another shot, because I know I'm ready physically and as far as talent goes.
Now, you mentioned the division in a way is worse off than when you left. Do you think the UFC snubbing the flyweight division a little? I mean, there hasn't been a flyweight on the main card on any pay-per-views this year so far, and you're on the early prelims of this.
Yeah.
Punk's on the main card.
I mean, just the fact that you asked that answers the question. They're definitely snubbing the flyweights. I mean, I'm the number one. No other person in any division in the UFC with the number one ranking by the name and 6 wins in a row would be buried on Fight Pass. Not a main event, not kicking off the card, just buried in Fight Pass. I mean, you answered your own question. I mean, what other theory is there to have besides that they are snubbing us, or it's something, you know, personal towards me or the flyweight division? Those are the only real options left, because that wouldn't happen to any other person in any other division.
What's the most disappointing part about that?
It doesn't affect the fight, so it's really hard to be disappointed in that. It's just, you know, you want to be respected by your bosses and obviously like your peers and stuff. So that's more of the disappointing part, is just like everything you put in, and then you just almost feel disrespected and, you know, definitely underappreciated. Like you said, it wouldn't happen to anybody else, so you have to feel very disrespected as that part. No one with 6 wins in a row and a number one ranking by the name would be there. So just, you know, disrespected, underappreciated in that respect. And really just like fans, I feel I don't like the fact that, you know, I've gone through a lot just to get to this fight, 18 months. 13 months post-surgery. And I've gone through a lot to get there and a lot in my career. I'm doing my job, and with the #1 ranking by my name, what I've done in the past, I'm doing my job a lot better than a good percentage of everyone else, right? So it just doesn't make any sense. So I guess another disappointing part is just like I was mentioning, the fans, like they can't just turn on their TV, my family, my friends, everyone that wants to see me. Some people don't have Fight Pass. Some people, honestly, as simple as it sounds, aren't gonna log in and put in all their information to get a fight on Fight Pass. I mean, they're just not gonna do it. And yeah, so that's kind of disappointing. You know, when you talk to people like, sick, it's on pay-per-view or whatever, and you're like, no, it's on this app called Fight Pass. Like, oh, never heard of it, how do I get it? You know, so just little things like that, but the big picture is, you know, just, you know, being underappreciated by the people that should appreciate me.
Do you worry at all that that's indicative of their thoughts towards giving you another title shot, or it's just the division? Like, it's not you, it's the division that we don't want to put on.
I think a little both. I think honestly a little bit of both. I know the division, like I know it's a little bit because of the division, but it makes me think it's because of me as well. And I could just be making that up, but just other instances throughout the past have made me think that as well. So I think it's a little of both.
I wonder, you know, when we say it's the division, I mean, obviously this is a problem that we've been talking about for years, but when we say it's the division, are we really saying it's Demetrius? That, you know, the champion is so dominant and not marketable?
Yeah, but that is, like, as a whole, yeah, it's Demetrius, but everything webs off of that because he is the division. Like, it might be, like, Demetrius and you know, whoever makes the decisions right at the top, but it's everyone's fault. I take a lot of the blame for that because I should have been the one to beat him. I was the one expected to beat him. Even when the tournament happened at the very beginning, I was kind of like a #1 seed or whatever. I don't even know if there was seedings. I could have made that up, but it sounds good. You know, so I was kind of expected to win that, you know, coming from bantamweight and everything, and, you know, just didn't work out. Had another chance and screwed that up. So it's everybody. I mean, it's everybody in the division, and it's easy, I think, for the masses to look at Demetrius because he's kind of the face of the division, but, like, you know, who else do you think of when you think of the flyweight division? Me, right? And, you know, I haven't done what I've done to bring the division to the forefront either. So I take a lot of blame for that, actually. Like, sometimes I just see, you know, someone saying something about DJ or saying something about the division, and in my mind I just think, like, man, it's all my fault. I could have changed that, you know, or made it a little better. So I take a lot of blame for it, but it's really everyone. No one else has stepped up. No one else has beat him. No one else has done anything to make a splash. So it's a little bit of everyone.
How much of it do you think maybe the fan base has changed a little bit? Because it feels like to me that we've gone back a little bit in the dark ages of, like, how the lightweight division, before there was a lightweight division in the UFC, that the fans just want to see heavyweight fights. It almost seems like the mentality's like took a couple of steps backwards a little bit.
Did it? Yeah, I don't know if that has something to do with just the more fights they put on, but it could be something to do with what you said earlier. It's just not even being there to be seen. You know, like a fight that could be good for the flyweight division, which is me coming back from ACL surgery, and Sergio Pettis, #5 ranked in the world, a fight that could do something for the division, and two potential, you know, prospects, stars, or whatever in the division is buried on Fight Pass. So, I mean, it might be a little bit of a mentality, but I think it's what you mentioned, just not being on the main card, not even being visible for people to see, for people to get behind, for anything like that.
What kind of a dog do you have? I just can't get over that comment.
What kind of dog do I have? Oh, Maltese Yorkie mix. He's a Morkie. You can follow him on Instagram at Benavidez. He's the best. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah, so check him out.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.